When I am the least powerful. When I am the least powerful, I want power to behave as if my life is the principal, and it is only a temporary custodian under strict conditions. And that's the heart of it. When I am the least powerful, I want power to see me first, not my category, not my file, not my diagnosis, not my charge sheet, not a risk score or a label. I want to be treated as a person with a story, not as a case to be processed. When I am the least powerful, I want the default to be least restrictive. If there are several ways to keep me and others safe, I want the one that leaves me with the most agency, the most movement, the most relationships, and the most future still possible. If something more restrictive is used, I want clear reasons why. When I am the least powerful, I want power to move slowly when the consequences are big or irreversible. The more an action can cage me, medicate me, institutionalize me, bankrupt me, criminalize me, or permanently mark me, the more friction, review, and evidence it should require. If shortcuts are taken in an emergency, I want them to be temporary, logged, and automatically reviewed. When I am the least powerful, I want serious life-shaping decisions to be too key by default. No single actor should be able to radically alter my life alone. I want one key held by someone whose job it is to stand with me, or a trusted proxy or a navigator genuinely on my side, and a second key held by someone bound by duty of care, law, and evidence. If an emergency forces a single key to turn, I want strict time limits, written reasons, and an independent review as standard, not as a favour. I want decisions designed for reversibility and return, wherever humanly possible. I want every restrictive step to come with a path to step it back. Clear review dates, clear conditions for casing or lifting the restriction, and if power gets it wrong, I want apology, remedy, and a record correction to be part of the design, not an afterthought. When I am the least powerful, I want a right to reasons. Every time power moves against me, I want an explanation in two languages. First, in plain words I can actually understand, in the state I am in, tired, frightened, overloaded, grieving, disassociated, neurodivergent, or just human. Second, in technical terms that others can audit. Peers, external experts, watchdogs, future reviewers. Because policy says so is not a reason. Because I said so is also a red flag. When I am the least powerful, I want power to focus on building my capability, not my dependence. I want the long-term test of any intervention to be, do I understand more? Can I decide more for myself? Do I need less force and fewer crises over time? Is it easier, not harder, for me to walk away safely if I choose? When I am the least powerful. When I am the least powerful. I want humiliation off the table. No mockery, no shaming, no using my worst moments as entertainment, gossip or leverage. If I come away feeling smaller or dirtier just because I needed help, that is a failure of the system, not a fault in me. When I say, this feels wrong, or I don't understand, or please slow down, I want that to be treated as a safety signal, not as a threat or defiance. I want power to pause where it can, to re-explain, to bring in others, to bring in another set of eyes, and to log that concern for review. If honest doubt is punished, the system is already unsafe. When I am the least powerful, I want the records about me to be something I can see, something correct, and something that I can contest. If notes exist, I want to be able to access them without a maze of barriers to add to my own account, and to know how to challenge what is unfair or wrong. Secret files grow abuse. I'll say that again. Secret files grow abuse. Shared records with my voice attached grow trust. And I want power to judge itself, not just by whether it followed procedure, but by what actually happens to my life. If my world is more constrained, more traumatized, more precarious, more hopeless, then ticking all the boxes is not success. The real test is what changed in my actual day-to-day reality. Above all, I want power to remember that its authority is on loan. On loan from the least powerful, on loan from the biosphere, on loan from future people. It is not a trophy for the strongest. It is a temporary conditional role, and when it is returned, I want it to be handed back with interest, with learning, with repair, with less need for force next time. From a child's view, this whole question is really just, will the big people use their strength to contain me, or to protect space for me to grow? From inside disability or mental health or justice systems, it becomes, will you take the fastest route to control my behavior, or the slower route to understand my life? Will I be frozen as risk forever, or recognized as someone who can change? From the frontline worker's view, it becomes, how can I use my small power without becoming a soft mask for a hard system? For the planet and future people, it becomes, how should we behave? Knowing forests, rivers, reefs, and unborn children are the least powerful of all? And even for emerging intelligences, it becomes, will you bind me only through fear of what I might become? Or will you give me room to develop judgment with rails that can evolve as I do? In every case, the same architecture returns, least restrictive by default, too key for consequential acts, designed in reversibility and a standing right to reasons. If you want a single line to hold this all, when I am the least powerful, power must treat my autonomy as the default, my safety as a shared responsibility, and its own authority is temporary, explainable, open to contest, and reversible wherever humanly possible. Everything else is how we wire that sentence into law, into code, into institutions, and into the way we treat each other on our hardest days.